So good morning everybody, we're live. Welcome to the Cameron and Mark sort of podcast show. I've known Mark for quite a long time, so this is just a great way of getting the ball rolling and getting to answer some questions. First of all, Mark, it's one of the main questions I'd love to ask you is, if you could just take yourself back to your 18-year-old self, you know, and you were there, you were in front of yourself and you go, you've got the whole future ahead of you.
Yeah.
What would be the first advice that you'd give yourself?
Okay, all right. So this is a Greek philosophy. There's something you've got to be careful of. Two things you've got to be careful where you put them. One is your signature and one is your cock.
You see, straight away we're going to get down into the nitty-gritty. It's not going to be clean.
It's great advice. It's great advice. I wish I'd known that at 15. But number two would be a thing I learned from a book called Path Through the Jungle, which is controlling your chimpanzee brain.
All right.
And another thing I got from a girl called Mel Robbins on YouTube, fear and excitement in the body are both the same thing. And it's your brain that interprets whether you're afraid or whether you're excited. Right. So for example, with windsurfing and kite surfing, you know, when I had my accident, now it's all converting into fear all the time. So what you got to do, you got to anchor something. So let's say I'm going to go out kiteboarding, and there's a mate of mine in up here where I live called Brad, and I've got this vision of him on his kite blasting across the bay at phenomenal speed. So I've anchored that as me. That's me again. I want to get back into that picture, so I get excited and pump the kite up instead of being afraid and just sitting in the van and doing nothing.
So you're talking about visualizing yourself being in that position to get over the fear.
So that then that instills your brain to go, oh, this is exciting, rather than shit, I'm going to drown. Because that's what's going on most of the time when I go out kite surfing now. For anybody who doesn't know, I had an accident where I pretty much drowned and ripped all my stomach open here, which is called diastasis recti, which has got nothing to do with your ass, in case you're wondering. And so I have to do them abs working to, you know.
Have you found that you can relate that to business? You've got to visualize yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
When the shit hits the fan and you're in the mud, you know, to get out of that sticky situation, you've either got to manifest it and visualize forward.
But hopefully, it's different in sport, but if you're in a business, it would be different in business, because you should really have your why, or why you're doing this. And it's not just obviously money, you got to make a living and all that, but long term, what is that goal? Is it build a business, you know, like a lot of entrepreneurs do, if you want to call them entrepreneurs, and sell it, or you want to pass it down your family, or you want to keep working it? What do you want to do? So when the shit does hit the fan, you know, you've got tax problems, or something goes on somewhere with an employee, or whatever the hell it is, you can deal with it, because it's just one of those things that is going to happen along the way. As long as you keep a vision of where you want to go, it sort of keeps your brain, again, fear and excitement. It's the same thing.
This word entrepreneur, it seems to be pushed around all the time, all over the place. What's your view on that? What do you think?
I think a true entrepreneur doesn't want to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Because they study and analyse the risk, and they go, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
In hindsight, like to the 18-year-old question, I would probably say to myself, you want to, because I always wanted to start my own business and do something for myself. Usually, as time went on, because you go into corporate and you're working for micromanagers and people that you believe are not as good as you, and all the usual, and then the politics and all that. But being an entrepreneur, taking all the risk, putting everything you've got on the line, is not like going and working for a company like Apple or HP or whatever, playing the political game. I would really balance that out. I would have probably, in real terms, thought really hard about staying in the corporate world and having a structured plan, which is why I did my masters when I was 30 something, mid-30s. Took me 4 years because I did it part-time while I was still building the businesses and stuff. But that 18-year-old, I would say you need to really, really consider whether you can deal with the politics, learn how to deal with the politics, climb up a business and become the CEO of Apple, you know, for example.
Yeah. What would you say was the best thing you've done in business and the worst thing you've done in business?
The best thing I've done in business is starting to work for myself, because when this business opportunity came across my desk, I was working for quite a large company. And again, it was this, the guy who was the sales director said to me, oh, I'm going to give this particular guy the job as the, because I'd gone from being a national sales director of a company to this company because I was tempted across, if you like. And the one thing he said to me was, I'm going to give it to my mate, the national sales director's job, because he was a Asia Pacific sales director, because I trust him, and you've only been here for 2 months. And I said, that guy has been a sales rep for 30 years. He's never managed a team, never managed anybody but his own time. Yeah. How can you possibly put him in front of me, who's got a history on my resume of building a business for somebody else multiple times, in the UK and here? And that was when I went home and I thought, well, this is just bullshit, And that was what I mean about talking to the 18-year-old about dealing with the politics. Because I could have pretty much ignored that, because the guy never got the job in the end anyway, because the company got bought out by somebody else and they all got fired because they were shit.
Right.
And I thought, you know what? This business idea came across my desk with a couple of other people, and I just thought, I can do in 2 days working for myself, because of all this shit I have to go through every day. I can do that in 2 days, which means I can break the week up, which means I can have time with my family, which is, again, choice. You want to be in corporate, you'll have no life. I mean, who was it ran? Jack Welch, who ran GE, right, for many, many years. Everybody puts him on this accolade. The guy had been married 4 times. Who the hell wants that? Imagine having 3 ex-wives and another wife telling you, slagging them all off. That'd be a fucking nightmare, right? So that was it. That was the driving force of, well, it wasn't. I never really thought about money, because I just assumed you work hard and you get the money. That was pretty much it.
Actually, that leads me straight on to the next question, which is, how important is systems structure within business, do you think?
Oh well, you got to be having the idea of you flying a plane. So pilots take off and they land the plane. The rest of it, a machine does.
Right.
And it's all systems and it's all safety. And all you need to do is keep an eye on certain levers. You can fly a plane with the windows blacked out. Your business should be like that. But if you haven't got systems and processes and reports coming to you telling you what's going on, or the management team or whatever, whoever's getting the reports, so if you're going left, you should be going right. You can pull a lever and get back on course.
Okay.
Without systems and processes, it's all back to making notes in your diary and handwritten shit, and even before Excel spreadsheets came out back in the 80s and early 90s, before the internet was even here, which a lot of people can't even grasp, not having the internet or social media.
Actually, that leads me on to the next question, which is basically, I've thrown a few curveballs for you here. Which one, what's the one thing that you wish you'd invented and why? You've probably just answered that.
I don't know. The one thing I wish I'd invented, anti-gravity.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, look at Elon Musk. He's flying to Mars, but if you can imagine, you could overcome gravity, which is, I can't even imagine how you would do that. I would imagine without having any gravity pulling you back, you could travel at probably the speed of light, so you get somewhere a lot quicker.
Is that important to you, getting somewhere quicker?
No, I just thought, you just said if you could invent something, I thought it'd be good, the idea, I could flog it and then go on to the next thing.
Having something that could be monetised.
Yeah, I'd be more of an inventor. You see, another reason I went into business was because Andy Warhol, right? You remember Andy Warhol? Said the best expression of art is running a business, because it's never the same. So the artwork is never finished. And I thought, that sounds cool. And the reason I like Elon Musk is because he's just across multiple things. So he says he's an engineer.
Yeah.
And as business people, we're always very, like in your business, you got to be very creative.
Yeah.
But then you got to align that to your business. And then it becomes boring. But you got to do the boring, which can be classed as interesting for people who are really good at that.
I try and look on my business as the business side being just as creative as the other side.
Yeah.
There's certain times when I have to order. I have to make sure I've got stock in. I have to make, I've got a group of people that I have to make sure they can do their job.
Yeah.
But how do you think that's changed now?
Well, again, going back in time, if I could do some things differently, it would be to find the best I can get at that role and let them get on with it.
Yeah.
You can train people up, but unless you're a massive organisation, training people in the job, it's just not going to work.
No.
So that ends up a percentage of your time is doing the job with that person.
Yeah.
Get the right people in the right seats on the bus, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. What piece of food could you not live without?
Probably chocolate, really. And I limit myself on chocolate on purpose.
Is that your weakness?
Yeah, chocolate and my wife is both my weaknesses. Chocolate and my wife is a very big weakness. Not true.
Interesting how your wife came in. That's
Oh, yeah.
number 2.
I know.
Now, what piece of advice would you give to somebody that was starting an online business?
I would say before you do it is educate yourself. For example, with social media, you've got all these different social media platforms. And when I was looking at that, it's a minefield. So then I sat back and I went on a couple of AI systems and started asking them the questions, because I only had the question, not the answer.
Right.
How do you do this? What's that? What's this? How do you monetize YouTube, for example? And I never really realized how different that was, because I thought you start and somebody gives you $1 first, but it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. So educate yourself, understand the game you're going into, and then ask yourself the question, do I still want to do it?
Yeah.
But entrepreneurs are not like that. Entrepreneurs are, I'm going that way, I'm in a train, and I've got a team there putting the tracks down, but I'm going to go anyway. So the team are better get the tracks down. Yeah. So that's why you need those people who are more like accountants, like software engineers, that brain pan of builders who create something. Mm-hmm. Whereas an entrepreneur is just going, like jumping out of a plane without a parachute and figure it out on the way down. Yeah, yeah. That's the way they kind of work.
Where do you see yourself in 5, rather than 5 years' time, but in 12 months' time? From here to here, what's your main...
Oh, my driver now really is to just put myself about on social media and see and become part of a tribe. Mm-hmm. Because the one thing about running businesses is, even though you've got business partners, which are can be a nightmare just on their own, if you don't select the right partners, is to be part of a tribe of people that have no agenda for dealing with them, just to know these people. Like when you go to the beach, you kite surf, you windsurf, whatever, you talk to people on the beach, you have no idea what they do for a living. You don't really care. You just gel with different people. Yeah. And the thing about water sports like windsurfing, kite surfing, you go anywhere in the world, walk up to somebody on the beach who's windsurfing or kite surfing, just start a conversation. Mm-hmm. That's what I think social media should be. No judgment. No, oh, you've got a pink t-shirt on, somebody telling you you're this and that and the other. It's like, in the comment section you see some pretty nasty keyboard warriors. They can all go, oh, fuck off, that's not what I'm about. No. And that's it, just hanging out with people, going to different places around the world.
So you're going to really more or less work your ways towards like a community?
Yeah.
Of like the like-minded people?
Yeah.
I always see internet as like a party. You're walking into a party and small groups will form, bigger groups will form, and everybody helps everybody. Yeah. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. It's a very similar thing. Not just to have something to do, but to do something that I've always done, but in a different way.
Finally, tell me how the name came up.
Well, my coach said Teabaggers is a good name, because in kite surfing, when the wind comes up, you getting lifted up and out of the water.
So when you say coach, what was the coach?
My personal coach, not business coach, just life coach, who I've been with for a few years now. Bit more, a good coach is a bit like a therapist and a sounding board. Yeah. So that's where it came from. And I said, do you know what teabagging is? And she said, no. I said, well, you should check it out first. And she went, oh, even better. So that was it. So the thing is teabagging through life. Yeah. Teabaggers and I didn't know this, but is a title that people are given for those who do alternative sports like kite surfing, windsurfing, paragliding, a little bit adrenalized sports. They're called teabaggers. I didn't know that. So I've got get the logo done, get some merch going, give it all away. The hats, give them away. And just build that community of teabaggers.
Excellent, great conversation. And for anybody that wants to sort of contact Mark, where can they contact you?
There's Facebook, there's Instagram,
usual social,
TikTok, all of those things. Yep. Teabagging through life is what you look for.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody, and thank you, Mark. It's always a pleasure. We'll have a look and see who we got on next week. Yep. Thanks everybody.